in the red is pretty keen along the rail, 3 lengths off the pace. No, never, who broke on top, is now second to last, and Lady Claypool is at the back of the field. It's well funded to set the tempo, leading by a length and a half with 6 furlongs to run. Golden Skyline second. Kelly's out in the red at the rail in third. Den of Iniquity is in fourth. No, never. Now 5 lengths off the lead. The 2 trailers, Lisa and Lady Claypool. Drayden Van Dyke and well funded. Heading to the half-mile pole, 3/4 of a length in front of Golden Skyline second. Kelly's out down at the rail in third. Then Den of Iniquity fourth past the half-mile pole, 3 lengths off the lead. Lady Claypool has made a little bit of headway on the inside of No, never. And that leaves Lisa at the back of a compact field. Less than 5 lengths covers them. Well funded to catch, rounding the far turn. Trying to sprint away now, leads it by 2. Golden Skyline fully extended. Den of Iniquity on the outside. Kelly's out in striking range, angles off the rail. Far outside, Lisa is starting to come with the light blue cap as Lady Claypool has had a beautiful journey and takes second with a furlong left to go. Well funded, Lady Claypool comes to her now. Lady Claypool right up to well funded at the 16th pole, straightens up and up to take the lead. A late run from No, never. It will be Lady Claypool to score handily. Photo for second, well funded, and No, never. Then it was Kelly's out in a photo involving Den of Iniquity and Lisa. They're in the gate. And they're off. Take Action and 50 Cinco. And they're both sprinting quickly. It wasn't a great beginning for Bendetti Joe, and he's rushed right into contention, right off horse's heels. Eagles Landing on the outside moves up to take second as it's 50 Cinco the leader. Eagles Landing in second. Down at the rail, Take Action, a very close third. Another 2 back to Syntactic on the inside of Bendetti Joe. 2 lengths clear of Ship and Scam. It's another 3 to the 2 trailers, Confucius and Road of Love at the back. 8 lengths off the lead as they make their way past the 5/8 pole. And it's 50 Cinco and Armando Ayuso leading the way by a length and a half. Take Action second. Eagles Landing in the mix. Bendetti Joe moves up on the outside and takes second. Syntactic in some heavy traffic between rivals. Then Ship and Scam, 4 lengths off the lead, 2 clear of Road of Love. And then comes Confucius. They have 3/8 of a mile to go. 50 Cinco, the controlling speed, leads it by a length over Bendetti Joe, who's hard-ridden, trying to close the gap in second. Take Action in the thick of it on the inside. Ship and Scam makes a 4-wide bid with 1/4 of a mile to go. Then it's Syntactic. They turn for home. 50 Cinco narrowly in front. Take Action, Bendetti Joe, far outside, Ship and Scam, and then Syntactic. They're a furlong out. 50 Cinco, Take Action, a length and a half back second, followed by Ship and Scam, Syntactic, Bendetti Joe. They pass the 16th pole, and 50 Cinco holding on. 50 Cinco fends them all off. Syntactic was second. Ship and Scam third. Close photo between Take Action and Bendetti Joe. Next, the 5th. Stamp My Passport completes the line. And they're off. 7 Wonders broke inward, but did break alertly. Genius Jimmy is now up to take the lead. On the center of the course, Stamp My Passport moves up, and Crosby Beach will settle in third. Shortman passed by 7 Wonders, who claims the 4th spot. Then it's True Quality on the outside of Tessero as they round the clubhouse turn. Kerry Gold is down on the inside of that pair, and Living Life is 12 lengths off the lead. Around the turn they go, and it is Genius Jimmy, 3/4 of a length. Stamp My Passport second by 3, and Crosby Beach gets a perfect spot in third. Then 7 Wonders, 4 off the pace in fourth, 3 clear of Shortman inside True Quality. Then it's Kerry Gold, Living Life, and Tesoro. They pass the half-mile pole. Genius Jimmy continues to lead them 1.5 lengths to Stamp My Passport in second. At the rail, Crosby Beach comfortable in third. Then 7 Wonders, 3 lengths off them. True Quality inches up on the outside of Shortman, Kerry Gold, Living Life, and Tesoro. Midway on the far turn, Genius Jimmy, Stamp My Passport. 7 Wonders in third. At the rail, Crosby Beach has 3 to make up, and then Shortman, top of the stretch, and Genius Jimmy fends off Stamp My Passport, opens up 3. Crosby Beach is down at the rail, trying to get into second, past the 16th pole, and Genius Jimmy strong the whole way, holding on. It's Genius Jimmy to take them all the way under Flavien Prat. Crosby Beach's rally was too little, too late. Then it was True Quality battling with Stamp My Passport and 7 Wonders. And 10 cents. Congratulations to those who hit the... in the gate. And they're off in the DK Horse San Felipe Stakes, and Wind Me Up sprints out of the gate and takes command at once. Imagination, Scatify is keen in the opening furlong, and McVeigh is at the back of a very compact field that goes into the first turn. And it's Wind Me Up. Lots of trouble for Scatify, who's extremely difficult to handle. And it will be Wind Me Up to set the pace. Imagination in second, and a headstrong Scatify is just behind them, still steadying in third. McVeigh is just outside of him with 5.5 furlongs to go. Wind Me Up leads by a half length to Imagination. McVeigh takes the third spot on the outside of Scatify. Frankie Dettori lets Imagination go now, and Imagination opens up a length while racing well off the rail, heading to the half-mile pole. Wind Me Up at the rail in second, McVeigh and Scatify. Less than a half mile to go in the DK Horse San Felipe Stakes. Imagination, Wind Me Up, coming back for more. These two will pass the 3/8 pole, heads apart. 3 lengths back to McVeigh, and Scatify is now far back. Wind Me Up and Imagination, nose and nose, coming to the quarter pole. McVeigh 4 lengths back in third. They turn for home. Imagination and Wind Me Up. Imagination just in front. Wind Me Up battling bravely at the rail. It's Imagination with a narrow lead with a furlong left to go. Wind Me Up, though, is very tough. And here comes Wind Me Up on the inside under Juan Hernandez. Wind Me Up, Imagination in a DK Horse San Felipe thriller. Photo finish, Imagination and Wind Me Up. They raced virtually as a team throughout, and they finished noses apart. McVeigh was third. In the gate. And they're off in the Frank E. Kilroe Mile. It's a fast start for Dandy Man Shines, Prince Obama. Here's Goliad, and Goliad will sprint to the front. First Piece is showing plenty of early gas, too, and he's going to keep Goliad honest through the opening furlongs. Goliad, First Piece, 1-2 into the first turn. Prince Obama is down at the rail. Dandy Man Shines, and McKinnon 3 deep, 4 lengths off Goliad. Another 2, De Jour settles nicely. A couple of lengths in front of G's, and Easter will do his best running later on. It's Goliad and Kazushi Kimura dictating terms, sprinting away to lead by 3. First Piece is tracking him from second. Another 3 back to Prince Obama down at the rail, and Dandy Man Shines outside of him. McKinnon by himself past the half-mile pole, 7 off the pacemaker. Then it's De Jour. Easter inching up early, and another 2 to AG. Goliad left alone on the front end. Going easily thus far, a 3-length advantage on first piece in second. First piece cutting into the margin now. Dandy Man shines in third. Prince Obama at the rail in fourth. De Jour and Easter are side by side. Easter will be very wide while launching his bid, but he's coming now. De Jour, in the meantime, comes through on the inside with a devastating kick, and De Jour has sprinted clear at the 8th pole. Goliad has come up empty. First piece into second. Easter late. It's De Jour and Flavian Pratt. De Jour dominant in the Frankie Kilroe mile. Easter was second best. Ag's third. First piece and Dandy Man shines. The running time 1:33.95 seconds. We're in the gate. And they're off in the Santa Anita Handicap, presented by Yamava Resort and Casino. And Subsonador darts out of the gate and quickly takes over. Reincarnate at the rail and a little bit tight. And here's Mixto between rivals vying for the lead. Newgrange is up and on the pace, just a length off them. And Newgate settles down in 5th, 4 lengths off the leaders. Then it's Salesman at the back of the field with Highland Falls. They move into the first turn, and it's Subsonador and Mixto in front. A length back to Newgrange, 3 deep in third. Reincarnate drafting in behind the runners, 4th. Followed by Newgate, 5th, 4 lengths off the lead. Highland Falls inches up on the inside of Salesman, just 6 lengths covers the entire field. 6 furlongs to run. And it's Subsonador, 3/4 of a length to Mixto in second. Outside of them, Newgrange kept close in third. Reincarnate 4th. Newgate in between rivals 5th, but just 3 off the lead. Salesman is outside of him. And Highland Falls by himself at the back of the field. They have a half-mile left to go in the big cap presented by Yamava Resort and Casino. And it's Hector Barrios and Subsonador in front throughout. Mixto is asked to get a little bit closer, coming under a ride second. Newgrange outside of them. Reincarnate still 4th along the inside. Newgate is 3.5 off the pace, gets a cue now. Salesman, nothing yet from Highland Falls. Subsonador trying to shake loose with a 1/4 mile to go, and he's done so. He's in front by 3 suddenly. Reincarnate down at the rail. Newgate swinging into action on the far outside. Newgrange inside of him. There's an 1/8 of a mile to go. Subsonador by 2. Reincarnate chasing. Newgate on the outside is also closing stoutly. Here comes Newgate after Subsonador. Newgate has good momentum coming right to Subsonador, who has led throughout. Subsonador digging in. Newgate surging. Here's the line. Newgate gets up to win the big cap under Frankie Dettori over Subsonador in a thrilling display, getting up right on the money. A 4-year-old bay colt by Into Mischief out of Majestic Presence, owned by SF Racing. Was in. And they're off. Very quick start for Just Nails, who will sprint out to battle for the early lead. Summer Lake matching strides through the opening furlong. Get the Money 3rd, and Vita Lara races in 4th. Then Pleasant Wave, Sunshine Babe is the gray, moving through willingly along the rail. Then it's Le Deuxième Étoile, who races in mid-pack, 6 lengths off the lead. Having to steady a bit is Le Deuxième Étoile as they run down the hill. And the lead belongs to Just Nails, just in front of Summer Lake in second. Outside of them, Vitalera. Get the Money is racing in fourth between rivals, and down at the rail, it's Sunshine Babe in fifth. Venganza in the pink is making headway while going very wide. Not Now will go even wider around the turn. Don't You Forget in the blue cap. Real Fire is down on the inside, and about 10 lengths off the pace is Haley LeVay. They're a furlong from the finish. There's room for Sunshine Babe coming through inside Just Nails. Just Nails is hanging tough. Center of the course, Vita Lara, and in between those two, Summer Lake. It's a driving finish, and Get the Money is coming fast along the inside. Get the Money with momentum. Here's the line. Get the Money. Got up and got the money in front of Just Nails. Behind them, between Vitalera and Summer Lake, in a driving finish. Juan Hernandez gets his third on the day. The last one is Moofy. They're in the gate. And they're off. Closing Remarks broke well, but won't go to the lead as Ruby Nell flashes her zip. Bella Bell is second in the early going. Here's Moofy rushing right into contention, taking third, but it's going to be Ruby Nell uncontested up top. Be Your Best is down at the rails, 6 lengths off the lead. Closing Remarks has now settled in between rivals in mid-pack, and Lucky Girl hugs the rail about 7 lengths off the pace, swinging on to the back stretch. Lakota Spirit is toward the back of the field, racing 3 lengths in front of Nadette, and Justique is the trailer. They string out behind Ruby Nell. Edwin Maldonado has a strong hold of her, but nevertheless, she's in front by 5. Bella Bell is second by 3.5. Be Your Best in third, and Moofy just outside of her, coming to the half-mile pole. Lucky Girl, Closing Remarks are side by side. Another 2 back to Lakota Spirit, who's by herself. 4 in front of Nadette, and still Justique at the back of the field. Ruby Nell in charge, rounding the far turn. Leads it by 3 lengths. Bella Bell second the entire journey. Be Your Best hugs the rail in third. Outside of her, Moofy is pushed along, takes that third spot. Then it's Lucky Girl as the field turns for home. Ruby Nell still has gas in the tank. A 3-length lead at the furlong pole. Moofy chasing gamely in second. From the back, Closing Remarks. Lucky Girl rallying belatedly. Ruby Nell, Moofy, these are the 2. Ruby Nell a length. Moofy trying hard. Ruby Nell takes them all the way in the Buena Vista, winning by 3/4 of a length. Moofy was second. Then it was Nadette who came from far back to get third. Fourth to Be Your Best. The battle for fifth involved Closing Remarks, Lucky Girl, and Bella Bell.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to a special Monday day of racing here at the Great Race Place. We've got a good 9-race card in store, and the gentleman sitting beside me, he knows his way to the winner's circle. He visited it 1,107 times as a trainer, and currently he's visiting the winner's circle invisibly because he's representing two jockeys who win a lot of races as well, Giovanni Franco and Kyle Frey. His name, Jack Carava. Jack, happy Monday. Welcome to the seminar.
Hi, Tom.
It's always great to have you on. Now, you know, yesterday was the big cap. I don't know if you ever saddled a horse as when you were a trainer, but I know you were an assistant for Jerry Fanning for a long time, and you guys ran a horse in the big cap that got beat by a nose.
Yeah, back I can't remember quite the exact year, but a horse named Star Recruit, really a tough little horse, and ran a lot of nice races and got beat a tough nose in it one year, and I believe Lafitte rode him and got beat a nose by one of Charlie's horses, maybe Sir Beaufort, and just a nice little horse, and it was a good experience, but it's always tough to get beat a nose, especially in a race like that, and with the prestige it had at that time, especially.
Of course. Well, talking about getting beat by a nose, let's rewind the clock about 20 hours and watch the stretch replay of yesterday's big cap thrilling finish coming up.
Newgate swinging into action on the far outside. Newgrange inside of him. There's an eighth of a mile to go. Subsonador by 2. Reincarnate chasing. Newgate on the outside is also closing stoutly. Here comes Newgate after Subsonador. Newgate has good momentum coming right to Subsonador, who has led throughout. Subsonador digging in. Newgate surging. Here's the line. Newgate gets up to win.
Substandador under Hector Barros for John Sadler led almost every step of the way until the final jump. Newgate under Frankie Dettori did get there for trainer Bob Baffert. That was an exciting race. It was interesting to listen to Frankie Dettori afterwards talk about how he wanted to win this race because of what you mentioned, Jack. It's so prestigious within the North American racing landscape.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of, I think, goes back a few years for him. You know, he was here back in the day, and
before nobody knew him.
Yeah, before anybody knew him, and it's probably, you know, you start getting, he's probably grown accustomed to winning those big races in Europe and stuff like that. So being back here and being somewhere probably brought back a lot of old memories, and it was a great ride. When
nobody knew who he was, did either you or Jerry Fanning ride him as a bug?
You know, I don't remember ever riding Frankie, but I remember seeing him around, and he was always a character, and still is a character. But he seems like a great guy, and he's a great rider, and it's amazing. He still rides with a lot of strength, and really, and now he's got the experience to boot. But horses really seem to respond well for him.
When we look through today's card after Frank gives us the scratches, Jack, one of the questions I wanted to ask you before we do that is, as you well know, we've had some bit of historic rain here in Southern California to start the calendar year 2024. How much of an impact, when you were training, I mentioned you saddled 1,107 winners, how much impact did rain have on interrupting your training schedule? And, you know, just the overall frustration that you can't control Mother Nature, you know, what kind of things did you have to do to kind of adapt to that?
You know, it's actually more frustrating nowadays, and I know they're doing for, you know, what they perceived to be the best situation for horses. But back in the day, we kind of just trudged through, and you know, you would definitely lighten your training schedule. Horses would do a lot more jogging, a lot more light galloping and stuff like that. But typically, we didn't miss a lot of days of rain because of rain, unless it was actually pouring rain at the time that it was time for the horses to go out. Now, you didn't want to get them all soaking wet and all your tack wet and everything like that. But if it was just a generally rainy day where it had rained the previous night and the track was muddy or anything like that, we just kind of went along and the horses went to the track. And that's a big change, you know, and now I see it from a different angle. But at the same time, I remember, you know, many mornings where we had to train in the mud, and horses are fine with it. You just have to adapt and do things a little differently.
What give us a glimpse or an insight, if you could, Jack, into both Giovanni Franco and Kyle Frey, the two guys that you represent. How'd you create those relationships with both of those fine young men?
You know, they both came along in different ways. Giovanni was my last rider that I picked up, and that we got together probably a year and a half ago. And he was coming back from Oaklawn Park, been riding at Oaklawn, and wanted to reestablish himself here in California. I got a little bit of a push from Phil D'Amato from both sides. I think Giovanni and Phil are friends, and as well as I'm friends with Phil. And I think Phil was a little instrumental in kind of putting this together and asked if I would be interested and as a second rider. And it's worked out great. Giovanni's a great rider and does he does very well. And so with Kyle, now that goes back about close to 3 years now, I think 2 or 3 years. And same thing, we kind of got introduced by a couple trainers, and he was looking to make a change at the time, and it's came together, and it's been a great working relationship. Both are great guys to work for, and just super guys, and they have great work ethic. I like to come out here every day and work hard, and they really like to do the same thing, and they're working hard every morning, working horses, and just looking to win races. And this is a tough meet to win races, especially this time of year. There's a lot of good riders here right now, and it may lighten up a little bit in a couple months with some of the riders going to the Midwest or the East, and hopefully we'll be able to pick up a little momentum then.
Jack's worked hard already this morning. We're going to make him work an extra half hour today. That's because he's going to help us find some winners on today's 9-race card. But before we do any of that, let's toss the microphone over to track announcer Frank Miramati and get the changes on today's special Monday card here at the Great Race Place.
Good morning and welcome to Santa Anita Park, the Great Race Place. Track is fast today and the turf is firm. Rail on the turf at 20 feet. Here are the changes. No changes in the first. No scratches or jockey changes in the second. There are no changes in race number 3. In the fourth, start of the pick 6, number 5, Clever Clover, 3 pounds over. Race 5, scratch 2, 11 out of 10. Jockey change 6, smooth as butter, Mike Smith rides. All turf pick 3 starts with race 5. In the 6th race, just the one blinker note. Race 7, there will be a rider to be announced for number 1, Invincible Molly. Jockey to be announced, race 7, number 1. No changes in the 8th. And in the 9th, scratch number 5, Good at Being Bad. Those are today's early changes. Enjoy this special Monday program at the Great Race Place, where they'll be at the gate for the opener in 58 minutes at 12:30. Let's go back to Quigley's Corner, where Tom's special guest today, former trainer and current jockey agent, Jack Carava.
Welcome back. We're talking horses with former trainer Jack Carava. He now represents jockeys Giovanni Franco and Kyle Frey. It's an honor to have him on the seminar today. He always brings insightful insights. And Jack, before we take a look at today's 9-race card, I wanted to ask you just some general training questions, particularly when you train. I know every trainer is different, but as an example, one of your mounts in the first race is the very first horse, number 1, One Arrow, who's coming back for trainer Neil Drysdale off a long layoff. When you were training, did you crank your runners up to fire first time out, or do you want to give them a race or two before they fired their best shot, generally speaking?
Generally speaking, in today's climate, I think you're always trying to win. But I think it's like a lot of things with horses. You have to take each horse on an individual basis. And depending on the reason behind their layoff, a lot of times we'll give you, if a horse is off, a few months because they were sick or something like that.
Or mistraining.
Or mistrained for one reason or another, but you can really crank on them a little bit. If a horse is coming back with an injury of some sort, sometimes you'll have to kind of dance around that and just feel that the racing will get them fit, and you just get them fit enough so they don't hurt themselves first time out, get a nice race in them where they don't get overly tired, and get a race in them and then just build off of that. And I think that is sometimes a better way to get your horses, back in shape, coming off of let's say a serious injury. Now, like I said, if it's not a serious injury, you can really crank them up. And again, depending on the horse, if they got a speedy type of pedigree, horses with speedy types of pedigree are always the kind that are a lot easier to win with right back off the layoff. Now, if you're talking a different kind of pedigree. Give an example of a
Two-turn,
two-turn,
Empire
Maker, that type. Those horses are a little bit harder to get ready to run. It's just in their pedigree that they're going to get better with racing.
Speaking of pedigree, let's take a look. Just a general question again for your other mount in the race. Kyle Frey rides number 3. She's Mooey Mooey. This is the first time she's going 2 turns after 3 sprint races, one of them on the turf course. From a trainer's decision, not Mark Glatt's decision, what would go into the thinking behind why try 2 turns for the first time after 3 career starts?
I think that various reasons. With this particular filly, I believe it's just a lack of opportunities. I think he was looking for different spots to run her other than this one. I don't know that this was his first choice on where to run. But I think it falls into a category of he probably feels in his heart of hearts that she's a little bit better sprinter. But at the same time, after 3 starts, why not give him a try? She's fit enough. She's fit enough to try 2 turns. Maybe 2 turns will be in her wheelhouse. And so sometimes it's more of an experimental thing. And if you don't try it, you'll never know. And
some trainers like to use 2 turns in anticipation of cutting back to try and build up that foundation a little bit.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I think you go into it with the mindset that you're hoping that they'll run 2 turns. But then if it doesn't work out, a lot of times that is a good fallback position that when you do cut back, they're going to have quite a bit of wind.
Before we get your thoughts on the race, Jack, ironically, the horse you ride, number 1, One Arrow, who comes back off a long layoff, the clockers are raving about the way she's working in the morning. This is a workout back on February 17th, just a few weeks ago. One Arrow is on the outside, and on the inside is Heron Bay, also from the Neil Drysdale barn. They're both in yellow caps, but you'll see as we watch the workout, and you can see the distance was 5 furlongs this particular morning. One Arrow certainly picks it up late and kind of was very impressive in my opinion, and it's not just my opinion, but clockers like Andy Harrington and Toby Terrell also thought a number of the workouts coming back off this layoff were very impressive for this daughter of Munnings. I don't know if you saw this particular work, Jack, but when you were training horses, let's just say as we're continuing to watch the work, would you like to work your horses in tandem, or did you work them individually, or did it kind of depend upon the horse's idiosyncrasies?
Yeah, I usually, a lot of the horses that I had over my career were older claimant horse types that would breeze just fine by themselves, didn't need the company. But I think horses working in company, actually, they seem to, it keeps their attention and their stride where they're not looking around a lot. So I think it's a good idea. If you've got the number of horses where you can match them up and put them together, I think horses work together. They work really, really good. And I know guys like Bob Baffert work several horses, almost most of his horses in pairs, and the horses go very well when they have company.
That workout we just saw, Jack, was on the main track. Of course, today's first race is 1 mile on the turf course for maiden claiming fillies and mares in for a $50,000 tag. The rails today are at 20 feet. Also, we've got a field of 6. The morning lane favorite was number 2, Cameron Slow, who was 9-5 on the morning lane, but the one taking all the action is number 4, Marina's Tina from the Phil D'Amato barn, who's currently sitting at 4-5 on the board. As I mentioned, you ride 2 in here. How'd you kind of dissect this race?
My first inclination looking through the race, the Marina's Tina, just, you start looking at some of the names in her running lines. You just go back 3 starts, you see A.G. Bullet and Ruby Nell, horses like that. She's getting beat only 7 lengths. This is a substantial class drop, in my opinion, for her. And she's not getting beat far against some pretty nice fillies. Numbers-wise, it doesn't look like anything jumps off the page at you, fire-wise or anything like that, but to me, just looking at the fillies she's been running with, she looks like this is going to hit her right in the head. It'll be a really nice spot for her. So I really like Marina's Tina to win this race, just basically on the class drop.
You also give a little love to number 6, I'm Still In It, who's also returning off a long layoff, adding Lasix for the first time. Here's a daughter of Empire Maker, who the sire we just mentioned. What do you like about her?
It just looks like she's training well. Mark having 2 in the race. She looks like she's well-intentioned on the comeback. And I'm not sure, first time Lasix, there was just a few things about her that, for kind of a live long shot, she's going to be a decent price, and she's going to sit a good trip from the outside, probably just off the speed, and look like if she comes back her last race was pretty good, and I thought she, when I had a good price, could jump up and run well.
I'm still in it, currently on the tote board at 10-1, Jack's second pick. One more question, Jack, for you. Again, from a general speaking standpoint, you were a very prolific claiming trainer. Did you claim many maidens that were dropping out of maiden special weight into claiming ranks, or did you tend to avoid those, generally speaking?
Generally speaking, probably going back to the beginning of my career, I had a tendency to stay away from those horses. Because back in those days, the claiming there was so much more opportunity for just everyday, everyday poker with winners. There was, every level, lots of horses. So you didn't have to resort to claiming maidens. And I think nowadays it seems like it's a fallback position where you actually you're just looking for horses in general. And if you're not looking at maiden claiming horses, it's just not a lot of races, a lot of choices. So, and they're not, the way they write races these days where non-winners to 2, non-winners to 3, it's a good angle because you've got several categories to go up, and go through their conditions.
Race number 2 begins the 50-cent early pick 4. This time we're on the main track. 1 mile is the distance. Fillies and mares in for a $10,000 tag. Field of 5. You ride number 5, Flatter with Jewels with Giovanni Franco, but the odds-on favorite morning line-wise is number 3, Dream Princess from the John Sadler barn, taking a massive drop in class. 4-5 on the morning line. Before we get your thoughts on the race, Jack, a question for you. So far in the first 2 races you ride for trainer Neil Drysdale, Mark Ladd, and Phil D'Amato, did your number of decades on the backside interacting with these guys help you as a jockey agent kind of burst through some of those doors or barriers?
I think so, and just, treating people right and working hard for people, I think is the main thing. And you're always trying to ride for the guys that win the races. And that's always been our goal. And you win races for little guys too. So it all the way across the board. But of course, these guys win a lot of races, and you're always trying to get into their barn and see if you can build a relationship that'll push you forward to some of their better horses.
Flatter with Jewels drops down 1 level after being claimed 2 back by trainer Phil D'Amato for $12,500. How'd you see race 2?
I picked the filly we ride, Flatter with Jewels. She just kind of comes with her same race every time, and it's usually good enough to be there or thereabouts. And I see that her running that same race again today. The John Sadler filly dropping is got a large question mark on her, obviously, with the huge drop and all the reasons why she would be dropping that much. Whereas the filly we ride in this race, she's an everyday blue collar type of filly, just comes with her race every single time. And so I think she's in a good spot with the outside draw. Giovanni can kind of see what everybody's doing early. And if Sadler's filly is good enough, she's good enough, but there's a lot of question marks there. And I would rather go with the filly that is going to kind of come with that same race every single time.
Race number 3, we continue the 2-turn theme back on the turf course. 1 mile is the distance. Maiden special weights, a field of 5. Number 5, Captain Coochie's from the George Papapadromo barn is the 9-5 morning line favorite, ridden by Frankie Dettori. Captain won this race 2 back, but was disqualified. What say you about race 3, Jack?
Yeah, Captain Coochie's is the horse that I picked. He's, like you said, he won 2 starts back. He's really not really even a maiden, so to speak. And he's found a nice field to kind of get back in the winner's circle, I think. And with a 5-horse field, nice outside draw, Dettori riding awesome, turf and all. I saw him as a pretty tough horse to beat in here, and looks like he's consistent. His last 4 or 5 starts, he's always thereabouts, and I'm sure he'll come with that same kind of race again, and that should be good enough in here.
And your second choice in the race returns off a long layoff for trainer Mark Ladd, who does so well off the layoffs. Number 2, Ziwat Neo, 5-1 on the morning line. What'd you like about him?
Yeah, he's another one that, with a short field and not a lot of choices in here, he was a horse coming off a layoff, and now he's got some very, very nice looking works on paper. He came with a 3/4 and 12 and 3, two works back. Looks like he's coming back and training very, very well. And some of these horses that have a little bit of time off for one reason or another, if you fix that particular problem or whatever, they can come back a different horse. And obviously, if Mark chooses to run him in a spot like this, that he's probably doing pretty well. And Kimura knows the horse, was beating the nose on him 3 starts back. And again, looks like a horse that could, come back a different horse off a layoff.
Another general question for you in this race, and it relates to number 4, Jack, Sneaking Candy. Here's another runner with 2 sprint preps and now goes 2 turns on the turf course. When you're a trainer, generally speaking, not necessarily related to Sneaking Candy, what things go into that decision to try turf for the first time? Is it the pedigree? Is it the way they cover the ground? Is it something something maybe the jock tells you or that you see in the workouts? Like, why go turf after first two career starts sprinting?
Well, I would say in a case of, if I had to guess, looking at this particular horse in general, Sneaking Candy, I would say you have an Into Mischief colt who you've tried twice already and probably not getting the results that you were quite hoping for, a 4th and a 6th place finish. So why not? This is you can't continue to do the same things and expect a different result. So, you might as well try turf. Now, trying turf and 2 turns at the same time, and if he wasn't to, as a trainer, if he wasn't to run well today, I would be scratching my head going, was it the 2 turns? Was it the grass? So you may have to kind of go back and try, a few different things. But, he's a horse obviously in a 5-horse field, and he's not getting beat far in either one of his starts. And if he was to take to either the 2 turns or the grass, he could have a big say in the outcome of this race.
As handicappers, we focus a lot on pedigree. Does the dam throw first-time starter winners? What's the turf pedigree like? From a training standpoint, what emphasis did you place on pedigree, particularly early on in a horse's career? I understand as they get more starts, pedigree might go out the rear view window, but did you pay much attention to pedigree, or did you let the horse speak for himself?
Letting the horse speak for himself generally. When you basically live with these horses every day, you get a pretty generally good idea of what they do and want to do and don't want to do. But sometimes when you're, again, back at the barn scratching your head going, what do I do next? Or what should I do with this horse? Pedigree does come into it. You want to take every angle. If you have a horse with a turf pedigree and you're trying them on dirt one time after another, you're always gonna want to put them on grass if you can.
And sometimes a surface change can wake a horse up. I think of John Henry and Cigar, 2 horses. Once we changed the surface on them, they became completely different animals. You just don't know. You're kind of like handicappers as trainers. You're trying to solve the riddle, but the horse can't speak, so you're trying to figure out with the knowledge that you have, just like we do as handicappers.
Oh, absolutely. And you take it on a horse-by-horse basis and try everything you can.
Well, let's see if we can try everything we can in race number 4. That's because it begins the $1 pick 6 sequence. This time we're sprinting 6 furlongs on the main track for Calbred 3-year-olds, allowance optional claiming types, non-winners of 1 other than, a field of 5. Number 4, Prince Prancelot going turf to dirt for owner-trainer Paula Capestro is the 9-5 morning line favorite. How'd you see race 4, Jack?
Yeah, I had a tough time separating the number 3 horse Refocus and number 4 Prince Prancelot. I think they're very close on numbers and ability. I think it could go either way. I give a little bit of an edge to Refocus, again coming off of about a 6-month layoff. Looks like he's training well, first time Lasix, and if he's coming out of a couple stakes races where he was just right there running 4th beaten 3 and 3rd beaten 8 to some nice horses. So I thought if he could, we kind of know what it's kind of one of those deals where you kind of know what you got with Prince Prancelot. He's got recent form. He's running well, but you know that about how he's going to run, whereas Refocus could come back an improved horse with a little bit of time off. And so I look for him to maybe run a big race today, Refocus. So it was a close call between Refocus and Prince Prancelot.
Race number 5, we're back on the turf course, this time sprinting on the flat turf course, 6.5 furlongs the distance for maiden claiming 3-year-old fillies in for a $62,500 tag. Race 5 begins both the 50-cent late pick 5 as well as the $3 all turf pick 3. Take note, the new jockey number 6, Smooth as Butter, is Mike Smith. Number 2, 11 out of 10 has been declared out of the race. That leaves us with a field of 8. Number 3, Avoir from the Peter Miller barn is the 3-1 morning line favorite. This is a really good race. Who'd you like here, Jack?
There was 2 fillies in here I liked. There was the one filly that we ride on the outside, Miss McGuinny, is a hard trying little filly. She's tried every time that we've ridden her, and I could see her jumping up with this post and shortening back up from a mile. The other day, a mile looked just a little bit out of her wheelhouse the last 100 yards to me. But, she could eventually down the line start running along again. But I think with a little bit better post on the outside, and she gives me the impression she's a hard trying type of little filly. So I'm hoping that she runs well, obviously, for Kyle and myself. But the filly, the 3 filly favorite, Avoir, she just on numbers looks just a little bit faster. If you kind of toss her last race being on dirt, she looks like she's got a pedigree a little bit more for grass, being by more than ready, getting back to turf, getting back to sprinting on turf. So she had 3 turf sprints the first 3 starts of her life, all good numbers. So she just kind of looks a little bit faster than these fillies on numbers. So I picked her to win the 3 Avoir and the filly we ride on the outside for second.
I'd like to focus your attention, Jack, on number 8, Discrepancy, for a number of different reasons. I'm going to ask you a 2-part question, but I'll just stop after the first question. First of all, the connections of Discrepancy spent $200,000 at auction for her, and now they have to run her for $62,500. That's probably a difficult decision for everybody have to make, but realistically, now that she's tried the maiden special weight rank so many times, they really don't have many options.
No, they don't. And she's a filly that I saw in this race as a close third, and for a couple reasons. One was with the rider change. Now you go from a bug boy to Flavian Pratt turf. She could improve quite a bit just for that reason. But again, what she's shown so far on form, she looks like she's just a step behind those. And of course, you just try to recoup as much money as you can. It doesn't really necessarily depend what you paid for them. You're going to have to try to get some of your money back. And it just looks like a spot. Whereas these races, these high claiming prices of maiden 62.5s are just a lot easier races than the maiden allowance races. And so she should move forward. I could see her running a pretty decent race as well today.
You mentioned the presence of Flavian Pratt. I can tell you this, whenever Flavian and Tim Octane hook up, they win at a 29% win clip over the last 5 years. It's happened 41 times. Flavian's visited the winner's circle with Tim 12 times. And also this move for the Octane barn when they go from maiden special weight to maiden claiming the last 5 years, they've done it 37 times, 9 wins, which equates to a 24% win percentage, including the last time they did it at Del Mar back on December 3rd with a runner named Quincy Market. Certainly Discrepancy at 5-1 could be an overlay, like I said, in a bit of a contentious 5th race. Race number 6 begins the 50-cent late pick four. Again, we're going 2 turns on the main track. For fillies and mares, $16,000 claimers, non-winners of 2 races lifetime. There's 6 in the field, and you've got a third of the field covered here, Jack, with number 5, Alf Nelson, and number 6, Story of Chrome, with the morning line favorite, number 3, A Vet Surprise. Winner 2 starts back on the main track, then tried turf last time out. Give us your thoughts on race 6.
Yeah, in race 6, obviously being hopeful with both my riders on the 2 outside fillies. As I handicapped this race, I could see a couple other fillies that looked just a touch better than them on paper. The one filly, DeJoria, Giovanni's ridden her in the past, and she's run some decent races. I see her as with a little slight drop in class. She's been keeping just a bit better company than the rest of these fillies, and I think today might be her day, going back to 16 non-2 as opposed to the 25 non-2 last time. Anytime she runs right in this area, 16 non-2, she comes with a really good race, a second and a third. This is a pretty weak field for the level. And I see her as probably a filly that's going to step forward today. So I like her, DeJoria, on top. For second, I liked Midnight Silence a bit. She kind of is one of those fillies that just kind of comes with her same race every time. It's not a great race, but at the same time, she never runs poorly, so to speak. She always runs pretty much her same race, and that race is going to fit really well with these girls here.
Race number 7, we're back sprinting on the turf course. 6 furlongs the distance for 3-year-old fillies. Non-winners of 1 other than. It's an allowance optional claiming race. A field of 8. Morning line favorite number 2, Elegant, who had a bit of trouble in the stretch last time out for trainer Bob Baffert, fresh off a turf victory yesterday in the Frankie Kilroe Mile with De Jure. 3-1 on the morning line here. 8 different ways you can go here, Jack. Which way you going?
Yeah, I thought this race was pretty wide open. The rail filly, Invincible Molly, you have a very an unknown coming from Europe, so she could possibly obviously be a runner. I haven't heard much about her one way or the other, but the filly I went with was the 3 filly Miss Brightside. We rode her first time in this country in a stake at Del Mar. Right before Christmas, and she ran a pretty nice race, was 5th, beating a couple lengths for her first time in this country. I thought it was a good race. She came back, probably didn't quite step forward in her second start, but with a couple starts now, I think Phil probably has her, in the spot where he likes her, back to sprinting today. And I could see her taking a big step forward. She looks like she'll be a decent price. Freysu got to know her last time, and I could see her, jumping up and maybe surprising a little bit in this race.
You also like April Vintage. There's that guy, Flavian Pratt, again, for trainer Peter Miller, who has 3 different runners in this field. What'd you like about April Vintage?
Well, April Vintage, going back 3 starts, she ran against the boys and was a nice third. And then came back and ran long. Don't know if she really wanted to run long last time. So back to sprinting today. and with the jock change of Flavien Prat, thinking that maybe with his style of turf riding that he could probably move this filly forward a little bit, maybe try some different tactics, something like that, and I can see her running well.
Race number 8, 2 turns on the main track, 1 mile is the distance, $32,000 of the claiming tag. Field of 5, number 2, Direct Line, taking a step up in class for trainer Peter and is the 9-5 Moyer Line favorite. You ride Departure, who had a bit of trouble last time out for trainer Steve Knapp on the bottom. Talk to us about race 8, Jack.
Yeah, this race, short field, few horses in here that want to be very forwardly placed. So it's going to be interesting. The first quarter mile of this race is going to kind of, I think, take whatever shape it takes is going to probably figure out what the winner is going to be. Now, obviously hopeful with Departure. We've won some races on him. I think 3 of his last 5. But he's a horse that he seems to run well when he gets a real nice, easy, cozy lead. And some of those wins that we had with him, he didn't have to go too fast on the front end and was able to cruise around there. So it doesn't look on paper he's going to have that same sort of luxury today. And it looks like there's a few other horses that want to be right up near the front end. So in a short field, I saw Cowboy Mike as an alternative to a horse that you can kind of sit back a little bit off the pace, make one run with. And pretty nice little horse, and I think he'll probably be finishing the fastest of any of them. So I liked Cowboy Mike on top. Departure, I'm hoping and hopeful that he'll with his outside draw, Kyle will be able to look around, see how things are developing early, and have a comfortable trip from the outside, and at least hang in there for a piece of it.
And race number 9 closes out the day and closes out the week. Keep in mind, live racing will resume after day on Friday. Friday's 8-race card starts at 12:30 p.m. Pacific time. But first things first here, Jack, you actually ride the morning line favorite. We'll get to that in a minute. But race 9 is 1 mile the turf course for maiden claiming 3-year-olds in for a $50,000 tag. Scratch the 5, good at being bad. Also take note, number 6, Potential Spam, is a first-time gelding. You ride number 8, Goldfoot, for the Sean McCarthy barn, who's the lukewarm 7-2 Moyer Line favorite. Before we get your thoughts on the race, we want to watch the replay of Goldfoot's last performance. Reason being, not only do we want to see how Goldfoot ran, but there's also 2 other runners in this field who also ran in that same race we're about to watch the replay for. Number 1, When Heroes Fly, finishes a good 3rd in this race when Goldfoot caught him right at the wire, and also Potential Spam, who I mentioned is a first-time gelding, also ran in this race. So let's watch the replay for January 20th. It was the 5th race that particular day, and listen to Frank Miramonti describe the action.
And they're off. Maximum Capacity is going out for the lead. Goldfoot came away in good order. Ringtone, When Heroes Fly, now moves 1 from the rail to come after the pacemaking Maximum Capacity. Maximum Capacity just in front. When Heroes Fly in second. Goldfoot 3rd in the early going, followed by Ringtone and Daddy Justify. Those 2 are right together. Audible Silence is 7 lengths off the leader. Big Reds and Ribeyes second to last, and Potential Spam at the back of a strung-out field. 15 lengths covers them as Maximum Capacity opens up. It's Maximum Capacity by 3. When Heroes Fly second by the same. Then Goldfoot in 3rd, followed by Ringtone, asked to keep up 4th. Another 2 back to Daddy Justify, who races on the inside of Potential Spam, who's out of last. Audible Silence, Big Reds, and Ribeyes. Around the far turn, Maximum Capacity, the controlling speed, leads by a length over When Heroes Fly second. 3 more, Goldfoot by himself in 3rd, followed by Ringtone and Potential Spam. They turn for home. Maximum Capacity, When Heroes Fly, hasn't gone away. He's a length and a half behind. And then Goldfoot in 3rd at the 8th pole. Maximum Capacity still going on well, maintains the lead, opens it out to 3. When Heroes Fly, Goldfoot, both trying very hard. Maximum Capacity, though, will lead them all the way. Maximum Capacity scores by 2.
Jack, that particular replay that we watched, Maximum Capacity, for trainer Michael McCarthy, was dropping out of the maiden special weight ranks and took them wire to wire. But Goldfoot we hadn't seen in the afternoon since early November, considering that replay was from late January, laid up for almost 2.5 months. I thought a very good effort, and continues that good ascending by her speed figure pattern. You must like your chances today with Goldfoot.
Yeah, I feel like Goldfoot is probably one of our best chances today. He's a horse that seems to be stepping forward gradually in each one of his starts, and I can see him take another step forward today. And Kyle's breezed him a couple times in between and has been very pleased with his morning activity, and he didn't catch a field that is that tough today. And I could really see this horse moving forward and taking that progressive step forward. And I really like him quite a bit today.
We can see you give a little love though to the first time gelding, number 6, Potential Spam. What'd you like about that gelding who exits the same race?
That was the exact reason why I gave him a little love, was because he is a first time gelding and it's probably the type of horse that could step forward with being gilded, and has every reason to improve because of being gilded. So, and the rest of the field was very close in my opinion. But Potential Spam with the being a new gilding, I thought he had the most upside to improve.
Jack, we've always got lots of upside whenever you join us on the seminar. It's really a delight to have you and have you give us your insight. You're certainly a credit to the game, and we wish you nothing but the best, not only personally, but also with your 2 jockeys that you represent, Giovanni Franco and Kyle Frey.
Really appreciate it, Tom.
Appreciate all of you watching as well. Hope you enjoyed it. Next voice you hear will be track announcer Frank Miramati updating us with any late program changes. Enjoy the special day of Monday racing here, everybody, and good luck.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our national anthem. Good afternoon. Welcome to Santa Anita Park. The track is fast. The turf is firm. The rail on the turf at 20 feet. No updates of note. Let's go through the changes once again. First race, no changes. Second race, blinker note. No changes in the third. In the fourth, number 5, Clever Clover, will carry 3 pounds over. Pick 6 starts with race 4. In the fifth, scratch 2, 11 out of 10. Note that number 6, Smooth as Butter, the jockey is Mike Smith. The all-turf pick 3 starts with the 5th race. We have a blinker note in the 6th. In the 7th, number 1, Invincible Molly, we will have a jockey to be announced. No changes in the 8th. And in the 9th, scratch number 5, Good at Being Bad. Enjoy this special Monday of racing action at Santa Anita Park. They'll be at the gate for race 1 in 27 minutes. We have the beer and margarita specials today, as well as each and every Friday. $3 beers, $5 margaritas, free admission and parking on Fridays.